Hey everyone, it is Jimmy Liu here, investor-friendly agent in Columbus, Ohio. So if you are an investor and you're looking for solid cash flow and tons of equity upside, you're gonna wanna pay attention to this video today. The reason why is we're gonna do a case study on one of my recent clients who purchased a single family house that has over $400 a month cash flow and has over $30,000 worth of built-in equity from one single family house. So we're gonna do a deep dive into the numbers. We're gonna look at the rent comps, we're gonna look at ARV comps, we're gonna look at what makes this a good deal, the location, and best of all, we're gonna put all the numbers into the spreadsheet so you can see for yourself what makes this and why this is a great deal. So let's jump into this video and we'll get started right away. All right, so we're gonna get first started with this property by looking at the actual listing on the MLS, okay? So the address is 2465 Desa Avenue, Columbus, Ohio 43219. And what we see is this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family house and 952 square feet from pretty much everything from the first floor and above. And obviously, if you were to count the basement area, which is finished in this case, it is 1,667 square feet. My client bought it for $161,000. And here is the information on it. Again, it hits the 1% rule. It's currently rented at $1,900 a month until 2025. So this was purchased in 2024. So roughly last year. And it was purchased with conventional financing. And obviously you can see that, again, I was the buyer's agent in this case. So with that being said, let's look at some photos of the property. We got stucco. Exterior looks pretty nice. We don't have any inside pictures, but I have walked this property. I can let you know it does need a little bit of light cosmetics, like some kitchen updates, some flooring, some paint. Overall, still less than $10,000. So overall light cosmetics, but again, still very near turnkey. So with that being said, I also pulled some ARV comps as well too. So again, my client, he bought it recently last year, and pulling comps today, again, roughly 1 year later, here are the comps now. They are at 205 and 215. This one's a 1.5, 1,182 square feet. You can tell it's near turnkey, looks to be in really good shape. Obviously not the most beautiful kitchen, looks still in pretty good shape for the most part-ish. Yeah, looks to be in still pretty good shape. And this one sold for 205. This other comp right here is a 1.5. This one's 1,393 square feet, so definitely a lot bigger. This one is in great shape. Yeah, I really like this house so far. This one sold for 215. So right off the bat, again, we bought it for 161. If you put in $10,000 in renovation, we're all in at 170. That is roughly $30,000 worth of equity. Again, so there is definitely a lot of built-in equity in this deal. On top of that, let's take a look at the location. So location-wise, what I always look for is I always go on Google Street View. If you're buying out of state, I always recommend looking at Google Street View. However, make sure to pay attention to the year. If it says like 2020 or 2018, that's not relevant at all. But, if it's very recent, then obviously it's a lot more relevant. Things I look for when it comes to Google Street View is I look for, is there like debris on the street? Are there trashy cars on the lawns? Like, do people take care of their houses here? Is it families living here? Is this a good area for rental properties? And going through the street view, I'm like, wow, yeah, this looks like very residential to me. I like what I see so far, honestly. Like, looks like families live here. This looks like a pretty sweet residential location, honestly. So again, so that checks off the boxes as well too. So then with that being said, let's go into the deal spreadsheet where we're going to put in some numbers now. Okay. So I'm using my buy and hold calculator. If you want to get a copy of this free calculator, check out the link in my bio or under this YouTube video. I pretty much give all these calculators completely for free of charge. So definitely feel free to download that. So purchase price, we're putting $161,000. Down payment, we're putting 20% down. Closing costs, typically here in Columbus, it is roughly 1% or 1.5% in this case. Down payment, you're looking at, again, 20-25% down. So my client here has a buy and hold rental property, and because it's a buy and hold rental property, he will need to put 20-25% down. That's just the standard when it comes to any rental property. And then renovation wise, we put $10,000. Again, we'll need some light cosmetics overall. And again, another thing to be mindful of, And also why this is also a really good deal is because right now it's tenant occupied at $1,900 a month. So right now he doesn't have to do a renovation at this very second. He can push it off to a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line when the tenants move out. But as of now, he doesn't have to do anything right away. So interest rate probably set, it was around 7% if I'm not mistaken. He took a 30-year fixed loan as well too. And again, with the loan amount that he took, which is roughly, it was 80%, loan amount was roughly $128,800. So we put in the rent amount at $1,900 a month or $22,800 annually. And then here's the mortgage payment right here, which is principal and interest, obviously. And then we have property taxes, which this I just pulled from the auditor site. We're looking at $201 a month. And then insurance for a house of this size, where you buy a house for $160K, you shouldn't be paying any more than $85 a month. Here, home insurance in Columbus, Ohio is very cheap. And then repairs and maintenance. So I always use 855, 8% for the property manager, 5% for vacancy, and 5% for repairs and maintenance. I don't have something separate for CapEx and repairs. The reason why is because us as real estate investors, you cannot be that real estate investor where you're overly conservative, where you put 10% for vacancy, 10% for maintenance, 10% for repairs, 10% for this, that. If you put 10% for everything, I can guarantee you this, even if a deal was to hit the 2% rule even, it would still be negative cash flowing. You as an investor, you have to be very mindful that you should be conservative, but never too conservative, okay? So again, 855 for me, in my opinion, that still includes reserves, and that is still very conservative. So 8% for PM fees, 5% for vacancy, and 5% for repairs, maintenance, and CapEx as well too. And also on top of that too, if you buy in good locations, and in my opinion, in a good location like this one, you shouldn't be having to pay a crazy amount of repairs and maintenance and CapEx and all that as well too. So another thing to be very mindful of. So cash flow wise, after everything, after inputting all the numbers, we're looking at roughly 9% cap rate, okay? On top of that too, cash flow wise, it says we're cash flowing $422 a month or $5,000 annually, which is insane for one single family house. Okay. Yeah. And then you guys can take a look at these numbers right here. But yeah, that is pretty much the breakdown of this deal really quickly. And I'm just going to just go through this entire spreadsheet real fast just so you guys can kind of see. But again, here's the monthly, here's year one, the gross income, and then you have the expenses section right here. And then you have your NOI right here, which again, you are making 11% cash on cash return in your first year, just from cash flow alone. That doesn't even account for appreciation, depreciation, principal pay down. Just from cash on cash, you are over 10%. And then you have to also remember your cash on cash gets better every year. The reason why is because rents increase, and because of that, you have to match inflation, but your mortgage stays the same. So because of that, your returns will get better year over year, as you can see right here, because you're paying down your mortgage, but obviously your rents increase every year, obviously. And then here's your, looks like your total ROI. So yeah, well, with that being said, again, this house, it is one of my favorite rentals that I helped a client purchase of the past year. I wanted to highlight this deal because again, in my opinion, this deal was an amazing deal. Makes over $400 a month cash flow. On top of that too, there's over $30,000 worth of equity. And if you're looking for a deal like this, absolutely, we can find a deal. So if you are interested in finding a deal, I am an investor agent here in the Columbus, Ohio area. I help investors buy their next buy and hold, BRRRR, flip, short-term, mid-term rental here in the Columbus, Ohio area. I've done well over 25 million in terms of real estate sales. I've done well over 100 plus real estate transactions. So if you're looking to work with an investor agent, I would love to help you. So feel free to sign up in the link in my bio. But aside from that, if you have any questions or comments or have anything on the top of your mind, feel free to hit me up and I would love to answer them for you as well too. Thank you so much, guys. Absolute pleasure. And let me know if there's anything else I can help.